everyone, welcome to another review video with me, Charlie. And today is going to be two books because I read them both really quickly, so I didn't need to necessarily do two separate videos. So today we're going to be talking about The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which I've said a lot lately, forgive me, as well as the sequel The Wicked King, also obviously by Holly Black. I need to get The Queen of Nothing or Queen of Nothing to finish the trilogy, but because the paperback isn't out yet, I can't finish it because I don't want to obviously buy a hardback and then it won't match, and you know, anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to go into these two and then eventually I will finish it and then we'll talk about those. Okay. So the first book is The Cruel Prince, and as I've mentioned before, a lot of people have already read it, so this first half, as usual, will just be about how I found it, how good it is, and then the second half will be spoilers for those that have actually read it and can get at me in the comments about whatever they thought, you know, whether you agree or disagree, etc, etc. First of all, we're going to go with 3 out of 5 stars, simply because it wasn't very gripping in the sense of, oh my gosh, what's happening? I need to get to the next page. It was more of, okay, I'm invested enough to finish it. Like, I don't hate it, but I didn't actually understand what the initial hype about the series was. It's written, it has a good voice, so even though it's written quite low brow, don't get me wrong, it's no 50 Shades of Grey, it's not that much trash, but it's very basic, it's very plain, you know what's going on. I do like the voice of Jude, even though I might not particularly like Jude. Jude is the main character. Even though I might not like her as such, personally, her voice is distinct. We know, even though she's talking throughout, you know her mannerisms, you know what she's going to come up with next, you know how she's going to react to certain things. So in that sense, it's done, it's written very, very well. For those that have not read it and would like to read it, I'm going to let you know what it's about, because I didn't actually know what it was about. I read the back, but it doesn't really kind of let you know. So, Jude is about 6, I think it says, 6 or 7, and a guy turns up at their house who is in fact her older sister's dad and kills their parents. Because they kill the mum and they kill the dad because obviously she was married, the mum was married to him before and ran away for whatever reason. We haven't kind of figured that out yet, I don't think. And because of that, he comes and takes revenge and kills the mum. But because the children are hers, i.e. his wife's, he is indebted to look after them. He takes them to Fairy, i.e. Fairyland, and they are raised there among the folk. That's the premise. And Jude, the main character, is the only one who kind of struggles to find her way among fairies. The older sister, Vivian, who is in fact half fairy, is able to navigate and do what, you know, she can do while she's there, but because she's one of them, she doesn't have as hard a time as her and her sisters. There is one of the princes of the land, his name is Cardan. He's the youngest of 6, 7, correct me if I'm wrong, how many siblings, and it's, you know, implied that he'll never sit the throne kind of thing. Yeah, so he's really mean, and we don't know why he's mean, and we don't know what his problem is with her or that kind of thing, and it's their relationship and their situation unfolding. It unfolds, I'm not going to do this in 2 separate parts, we're just going to go together. It unfolds obviously in The Wicked King, which I am also going to give, let's do it this way around because I feel like, yeah, 1, 2, which I'm always also going to give a 3 out of 5 because it's pretty much the same. I went on to the next book because I had to, because it's the next book. That's about it. I know that's really terrible, but I think the long and short is, would I recommend it? Yeah. Not the first book I'd ever recommend. I wouldn't rant and rave and scream about it and say, oh my god, you have to read this. But if someone said, oh, should I give it a go? Yeah, why not? You might find something in it that I didn't. Okay, so where you have Sarah J. Maas, which is obviously the queen of all these tropes, where you've got different authors that are able to push these tropes of, you know, the guy and the girl aren't supposed to like each other and then they get together and they love each other so much. It works. Even when we know it's coming, even when we know what it's about, even when we, you know, expect it, it works in different ways. Feyre and Tamlin were one way, Feyre and Rhys were another, Nestor and Cassian were another, even Elaine and I would like Azriel are a certain way, Rowan and Aelin, what's her name, Manon or Manon and Dorian. There are setups of the I hate you but love you trope that are doable, that are workable. This isn't one of them. And I'm sorry if anyone disagrees with that, but this isn't one of them. Jude likes Cardan. It's obvious that she likes him from day one.
Oh my god, I hate him so much.
But he's so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I hate him so much.
But I want him to kiss me.
Oh my god, I hate him so much.
So why are you staring at him for then? Why are you staring at him across like the party? Why are you always like... just looking at him like you're weird, isn't it? Like, we know you like him. Just admit it. It didn't need to take 2 books for you to admit that you liked him, okay? Why she likes him is understandable in the sense that, okay, he's fairy and he's beautiful and he has all the power and all of this kind of stuff. And she lives among these people who are all so much better than her, and, you know, there's something to aspire to. I get that part. But he's mean. He's mean specifically to you. He's physically violent towards you. No, this is toxicity at its finest. This is such a toxic relationship that even when they did finally get together and kiss, like the whole whatever, it wasn't a, like, it was a revenge kiss in terms of, yeah, I'm badass, I know you want me. But it kind of defeated the whole purpose because you want him too. It wasn't like you were playing against his whims and like you would be able to kiss him and walk away and not have to think about him again. No, you're going to think about this for the rest of your life. You're going to be obsessed with him forever. Then when they get married, so the toxic people are now in a forever relationship, guys. When they finally get married and then he betrays her, after saving her from the mermaids, this is, you should know what I'm talking about, then she's just all like, how could you? Because however many 400 pages said he was gonna. As much as I was like, bastard, the fact that she was shocked and she lives there was like, well, you's a fool. I didn't see it coming, but when it happened, I wasn't surprised. Do you know what I mean? Why was she surprised? Huh? No, he's been mean to you your whole life. So that was that. And that's the main, you know, kind of premise. No, it's not the main premise of the book. They're the relationship of the book. They're the ship of the book. And, you know, I didn't really take to them. But then what makes it, I guess what makes the book different is that it's a lot more about kind of courtly intrigue and, you know, what's going on behind people's backs. And that was a good element of it. So as further explanation, the fairies, they are, you know, they come in different shapes. They got claws and they've got different skin and they're so beautiful, and they're mermaids and they're gnomes and they're goblins and they're all these different things. And the ones that are a lot more human-like are the ones that rule fairy. They're the ones that rule fairyland. And they're cruel, they're mean, they're manipulative. And but even though in this story they can't lie, iron hurts them, salt stops, you know, whatever magic they've tried to do to you, it puts it to a halt. So they're constantly trying to outdo one another. And in their world, Jude and her sister are the only humans who are not treated as less than. So they're not treated as kind of essentially slaves and workers and that kind of thing. And that's interesting because I'd never personally read a book that was like that before, so that was definitely a part of what made it a little bit higher for me, in the sense that there was all this manipulation of wording and how fairies go into deals with humans in order to like take years of their life or keep them stuck in servitude in fairyland, and then we'll send them back like 1,000 years later but they haven't aged, and weird things like that were really quite interesting. Yeah. The good parts are the world building, the fairies, just that whole world that it's engulfed in is awesome. The different characters are actually good in terms of the fairies and the things they can and cannot do and their cruelty and that kind of thing. Those are really good. But me personally, am not a fan of the Jude and Cardan ship, just because it's so toxic. The Cruel Prince and the Wicked King, I would recommend you read them just so you can understand what I'm talking about, but they're not the greatest YA fantasy I've ever read, but you know, I don't hate them, so that's a 3 out of 5. Last little message for everyone that's been kind enough to watch this video. A lot has obviously been going on in the world currently. It is, what's the date today? So it's June 5th, 2020, and for the last week there have been a lot of protests and a lot going on in favour of the Black Lives Matter movement has kind of come out in force again due to the murder of George Floyd at the hands of US police. It's been an interesting time for people in the creative pool, because for our non-black creatives, it's been a time to kind of really open up and listen to and expose yourself to biases and privileges and prejudices that you may not have understood that you particularly have. And for black creatives and just blacks all over, let's be real about that, it's also been a time of exposure for us, but also in the light of something quite negative. So we want to have positivity out of this, and the biggest thing we want is definitely change for ourselves as people, ourselves as humans, just as people of the world. It is interesting the changes that have popped up on my timelines, both on my personal one that is quite, you know, obviously black focused, and then my book socials that are a lot more diverse basically. So what I wanted to say, it's not anything particularly out there or loud or you know, completely political, but for those that have read the Cruel Prince and the Wicked King, and who can empathize or understand how hard it is, or it was, for Jude and her sister as humans, growing up in a world that the majority of fairies did not like them, did not respect them, did not want them to have a voice, used them in extreme circumstances as slaves, and treated them as less than them because of various reasons, and in that book because they were human. If you can understand and empathize with that in a story, then you can definitely understand and do more for what is happening in real life in the world to black people. If you can understand that in a book, you can understand that in real life. And I hope that this week of protests, whether you've played a part in it, positively I hope, whether you have just opened your eyes to more black creatives, black authors, black writer, black stories, if you are able to make that one initial step towards acknowledging the positivity of the black community, then I hope that that is another step towards using your advantages and privileges to help in any way that you can. If you can understand what Jude is going through or had to fight through in a book about fairies, then you can understand just a little bit what we have to go through daily to be seen, to be heard, to be respected, to be not judged, and in extreme circumstances, in extreme unbelievable circumstances, to not be killed.